Hey, been doing a little research lately. Kind of, I always like doing a little bit of research. I don't really call it research. Sometimes it's just fun reading, exploring, just kind of flowing with what's guided. And I randomly wind up in a lot of esoteric occult text, and yeah, I've stumbled upon quite a few recently that I'd never heard of, but nonetheless, were very interesting. But this is pertaining to some older ones. Well, not even really that old, but some ones that I'd already been familiar with. And there's a couple different references for this, but the one I'll use here is like the Emerald Tablets. And so there's a point where he names like the seven lords, and they're often referred to as the lords of the cycles sometimes. And there's noted to be seven of them. They're sometimes referred to as being seven dwellers. In my understanding, that there's really one has the title of dweller over them actually, but sometimes they're referred to as that, and they're understood to be kind of like in the inner earth or inner planes, however you want to look at that. So that's their understanding. But one of the things this very interesting that stood out immediately when I came across this was the numbering of them. So they were numbered. There's seven of them, but then their numbers go from 3 to 9, right? So the 3 and the 9, 3 to 9. So what happened? Obviously, it's like, well, what the hell happened to 1 and 2? Where'd they go? And I just recently stumbled across this, and it seemed to really connect some dots here, and kind of fall into place. And the understanding was that the first two were essentially lords of chaos. They're dark lords, and so they're not. They don't really. They have their own type of service in that way, and they do assist in that way. We have to have that type of polarization. So I'm not implying that it's not service in that way. Very much so is. But what kind of seemed to make sense here is the understanding that these two beings would be essentially Lucifer and Ahriman. They would be the Luciferic and the Ahrimanic. And because those are essentially the two, you could say, forces that essentially gridlock into egoic consciousness, into a fear state of manipulation in the material world. And those two influences together very much are all that it takes to keep the egoic thought system in place, that keep that type of fear consciousness in place. And yeah, that just really seemed to click in and make a whole lot of sense, man. That understanding that those two would be that, because they do. And it makes sense. You hear Lucifer is often referred to as he was the top dog, the top angel, and obviously in this realm, yeah, those two are required. So there's a lot of misunderstanding, and I found with even in the spiritual community, New Age communities. I mean, religions. I'm not even going to go there. But like more modern people that are involved, they don't. That gets easily glossed over, is the seeming necessity for those dark forces to be, in order to have the opportunity. Because if you didn't have that, you wouldn't have the opportunity. You wouldn't have the seeming conflict to allow for the catalyst to evolve, to grow, to move through what seems to be resistance in that way. So they're very much required and very much serve to really allow us to be the fullness of our potentiality. So it is a great service in that sense. Now, does that mean you serve those forces? No, I mean, you can. Yeah, that's obviously an option, and people do. a lot of people do unconsciously as well. I mean, I certainly have. Found myself at times, the realization, it's a very jarring, shocking, humbling realization when you see, you thought you were really serving something, and actually, you were just really serving your own egoic agenda, one of those ways. So anyhow, I just wanted to share that because for me it seemed to click into place and make a lot of sense in that picture, and the way I've held certain things, and those understandings have been seen. So that's it. Thank y'all. Bye.